Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to welcome you today to St. John's Riverside Hospital's presentation of the Great Diet Dilemma. My name is Denise Mananis. I am the Assistant Vice President for External Affairs at St. John's. And before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the team who put these webinars together. Jason Latour, who is our media production manager. Nancy Anabi, our community liaison, and Candace Cousin-Hopkins, who is the Associate Director of External Affairs. And without this group, we would not have these webinars for the community. So I thank you all for being such a great team. Also, I would like to acknowledge our partners today. Sally Pinto is from the Yonkers Neighborhood Naturally Occurring Retirement Community. That is actually under the umbrella of the Office for the Aging in Yonkers and Westchester Jewish Community Services. And also Z Baird, who is with the Yonkers Public Library. And I always like to mention the three locations, Riverfront, the Will Library, and Crestwood. Today we have a wonderful speaker with us today. Her name is Sylvia Hawkins. She is a clinical dietitian at St. John's Riverside Hospital. She completed her education at Hunter College and is a registered dietitian accredited by the Commission on Dietetic Registration of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, a certified dietitian nutritionist accredited by the New York State Education Department, and has received accolades such as the Irene von Check Award for Outstanding Academic Performance and the Curriculum Award in Food and Nutrition. Sylvia has over 15 years of experience with clinical nutrition, diet counseling, and implementation of individualized nutrition programs in a variety of healthcare settings, including acute care, long-term care, home care, and bariatric surgery. She loves to educate herself on the newest nutrition trends, enjoys redesigning recipes, and preparing them in the healthiest way. So today I'd like to welcome Sylvia. Thank you for being with us.
Hi, Denise.
Hi.
Thank you for having me today here.
It's our pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah,
yes. I have tons of questions, but before I start, I want to let the audience know that if anyone out there would like to write in a question, we will go at the end of the program and ask any questions that we did not ask. So feel free to type those questions in and we will address them at the end. So let's get started. During the pandemic, many people either lost a lot of weight or gained a lot of weight. Why do you think that is?
It's a great question. So I have seen this firsthand within my patients, friends, or family members. According to a recent poll, about 2/3 of adults in the United States experienced weight loss or weight gain during the pandemic. So for those who gain weight unintentionally, the stress of the pandemic definitely played a role. So during stressful times, our body increases production of stress hormones, and these hormones can not only increase our anxiety, but they can push our healthy eating habits and our motivation to exercise out of balance. So during the pandemic, many of us turned to comfort foods. So these high-calorie foods made us happy by releasing so-called feel-good hormones. But these chemical changes are generally short-lived and they contribute to excessive caloric intake or weight gain. Our lower motivations to exercise may also result in weight gain. So during the pandemic, many of us canceled our gym memberships,
right,
and even reduced our activity in everyday situations, such as just to give an example, to going to the supermarket, just like walking the aisles or carrying the shopping bags, or just the activity to getting to work, because many of us work from home during the pandemic. So just to mention a few behavioral changes. For those who lost weight, stress had an opposite effect. So some of us even fell into depression or had increased anxiety, which actually suppressed our appetite.
Interesting.
Yes, so let's not forget about the positive changes as well during the pandemic. So many of us, on the other hand, we have seen shifts in eating habits for the better. So during the pandemic, we actually found extra time to exercise because we gained time by not commuting to work, for example. And physical activity can really help anxiety and improve our mental health. So I have also seen decreased reliance on going to restaurants, especially fast food restaurants. So this behavior actually led us to cook more from home, and even tried healthy. We tried healthy recipes, or even learned how to cook during the pandemic. And many of us actually decided during the pandemic to really make that commitment to eat healthier and boost our immune system by eating more fruits and vegetables.
Well, actually, that brings me to the next question. So people, by and large, got very interested in supporting their immune systems during the pandemic. Is there a way to keep our immune system operating in a very healthy way, but using food?
I really love this question because a healthy immune system can help our bodies to provide extra protection from viruses or bacteria. So nutrition really plays a huge role here. So we may have heard about vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D, probiotics during the pandemic. So we can certainly get these vitamins and minerals from supplements, but it's really best to get them from foods. And first, I want to mention vitamin C. So vitamin C foods can be citrus fruits, berries, melons, tomatoes, peppers, or broccoli. Even frozen versions of these foods are helpful because they are generally harvested in their peak nutrient content. Another one is zinc. So zinc-rich foods are seafood, beef, tofu, beans, oats, nuts, and seeds. And to mention vitamin D. So many of us lack vitamin D during the winter months, and vitamin D, it really plays a critical role in our immune system. Although we can get them from supplements, of course, but some foods also have vitamin D, such as fatty fish like salmon or eggs, or even fortified foods like milk and orange juice or other juices.
Okay.
And now we can also talk about a little bit about the probiotics and the prebiotics. So they create a healthy gut environment, which in turn, they can make our immune system better. So probiotics can be found in yogurt or sauerkraut, kombucha. And then regarding prebiotics, they can be found in foods like bananas, garlic, onions, and asparagus. So lastly, the newest research really shows that by eating a variety of fruits and vegetables and whole grains, we increase the fiber, which in turn, it can help to healthier gut environment. So for those who are not used to fiber, I recommend gradual increase in fiber to really prevent unwanted GI problems.
Okay. So that kind of brings me to the heart of what I wanted to talk about. Everybody did something coming out of the pandemic, and there are a zillion diets around. I myself went on a diet and lost quite a bit of weight. And most people think in terms of a diet being for weight loss. But is that true? And honestly, how do you navigate through the variety of diets that are out there?
Yes, it can be really challenging. There are so many diets around, and we do not always know what is the best for us. We may think about diets that meal plans for weight loss, but the word diet is not only about weight loss. Diets can be therapeutic and such as low sodium or low fat diet. They can be fat diets, or they can mean a way of eating for life. We can also refer to them as eating plans. So here there's a slide I would like to share. And this slide shows many examples of diets out there. So this list certainly does not show all the diets around. So they can be really overwhelming. So I grouped them to 4 categories. On the top left, I put therapeutic diets for preventing disease or treat disease. On the top right, I included commercial diets. On the top left, there are some fat diets, and on the bottom right, I included diets for lifetime healthy eating.
So the interesting thing about this is how do you navigate this as somebody out in the community? And how do you choose one? And how do you know if it works for you or if it doesn't work for you? I mean, so how would you recommend to someone if they have a goal of losing weight or maintaining weight? And I mean, I can go on with questions about these diets because you've also got people who've done well on certain diets, but then as soon as they try to transition off the diet, things go poorly. So, which ones are you recommending here in terms of weight loss? Let's start with the weight loss.
Yeah, I would say one size doesn't fit all. So everybody is different. Everybody's health baseline is different. So for some people whose goal is to prevent disease, let's say heart disease, Mediterranean plan may be a good choice. For others who want to lose weight, maybe intermittent fasting works best. So many weight loss programs offer a quick and easy weight loss. However, it is really ideal to make permanent changes in lifestyle and healthy eating. And lastly, for some people, an individualized plan works best. So it is actually a good idea to see a registered dietitian.
Okay. So, and that's true for somebody who would be, let's say, trying to transition off one of those commercial weight loss plans versus somebody who's doing things just for therapeutic or like that. So maybe a little guidance, because honest to God, I mean, it's impossible to navigate. I've got to cook for my family, and then I don't eat what they're eating, and it becomes overwhelming. So so that brings me to this, because seniors, I think, are also in a place in life where they really do need special help in sort of choosing a diet or managing a healthy diet. So what can you recommend for seniors in our community?
Yes, so as we get older, we face with additional adversity with regard to health and weight maintenance. So our bodies often get weaker and less able to perform, and often leading to weight gain and some of us experiencing chronic illness. So additionally, women who have the challenge of the menopause, a major hormonal change that can lead to problematic issues, including weight gain. First of all, it is best to prevent weight gain. So as we are heading towards menopause. But if we notice that our weight is creeping up, let's not wait until we gain significant amount of weight. So for example, if we gain 10 pounds, it is a good idea to have a plan in place to prevent further weight gain. So portion control, eating consistently and including high fiber foods, fruits and vegetables are all good ideas for most people. We can also monitor what we eat during the weekend because our eating habits can be very different during the weekend and when we are going out to eat. So we can enjoy foods, but we do not have to indulge in foods. Regarding some of the commercial diets and the fad diets around, I advise to the elderly not to really use these diets, but rather focus on something that is a healthy meal plan, such as a Mediterranean diet.
Okay.
So some of these fad diets can even be harmful. For example, some of these diets are really high in saturated fat and low in fiber. So for older people who battle heart disease, diabetes, or even high blood pressure and constipation, these diets really should be avoided.
Okay. So this is the one that kills me because as I mentioned, I've been on a diet. So how do you transition off of a diet that has actually worked for you and then not undo all of the good that you've done? So transition to me is a big thing.
Yes, absolutely. So if you're not making a lifestyle change and you using a short-term diet, so there is a way to come out of these diets in a healthy way. So although all of us had good intentions with them, we may not always be aware of the damage that we actually causing by restricting our calories, for example, or eliminating entire food groups from our diet, or even using packaged foods that are high in sodium. So in the short term, we lose excess water, we lose weight, but the results eventually can wane. So when we go back to our previous eating habits, we may find that that weight loss is not maintainable. So one thing we can do is avoid mindless eating. So it's a good idea to slow down with the meals and really listen to our body. We can also sip some water between bites or include higher fiber foods in our diet to feel full. Secondly, nobody is perfect and there will be setbacks. So we are surrounded by endless poor food choices, and even if we have a bad day, we must not lose track of our goals. So that's really, really important. And I also want to mention sleep hygiene, because getting enough sleep actually can regulate our appetite. So, and finally, transitioning out of a restricted calorie diet, transitioning into a lifelong healthy eating plan is really recommended. So one of these diets is the Mediterranean diet. I really like this diet, and it has been around for many years. So it is based on the traditional cuisines of Italy, Spain, Greece, and other countries that border the Mediterranean Sea. So this diet is based on whole grains, vegetables, legumes, fruits, nuts, seeds, fresh herbs, and seafood or fish, chicken are used in moderation, but red meat and sweets are pretty much avoided or consumed occasionally. So it really emphasizes on healthy fats from olive oil, olives, avocados, nuts, and fatty fish. So these fats are really good for us because they have monounsaturated fats or omega-3 fatty acids, and these can help fight inflammation in our body. And cutting back on salt as well, it can really help to prevent heart disease or stroke.
Okay.
So how do we even start with this? So how do we stick to a Mediterranean diet? So we can start by planning out our meals around fruits and vegetables and beans, and then add some kind of fatty fish about twice a week to this diet. We can also cut down on red meat in our diet, and have fruit for dessert instead of a cake or a cookie. And finally, I really encourage like using olive oil instead of other cooking oils, or butter. And so this is a really great diet for a lot of people, but there are others out there too, such as the whole foods plant-based diet, which is another good one. So this diet has, it's consisting mostly of plant foods, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds.
Okay.
So there are a lot of benefits to this diet. For example, they can really help prevent inflammation in the body. They can also improve our gut health, and they can prevent or treat chronic diseases and even can help us to lose weight. And of course, it's good for the environment too.
Right.
So how do we stick to a diet like that? So we can start by making gradual changes to reduce our animal products.
Wait, I have another question. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you have a diet listed on here that I want to know more about. What is a flexitarian diet?
Yes, actually, I'm going to talk about it in a
Okay.
little bit. Yes, absolutely. I just wanted to go back to the plant-based diet and then just say that it's really good idea to plan your meals out for the week. So then you can include a variety of these foods, so you will have a more balanced diet. So you can also sneak some extra vegetables into your salads to make it more colorful, or into soups. We can also top cereals with nuts or fruits to increase these plant foods. And then one more thing about it, I really want to emphasize that on this diet, we really should aim to shop for minimally processed foods. So what is that? Like I recommend to look for 5 or less ingredients if that's possible. And then these ingredients should be actually recognizable. So, and
So no chemicals.
Yes, no chemicals or preservatives.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and flexitarian?
So the flexitarian diet is actually very similar to the whole food plant-based diet. The difference is that so basically it's not for the plant-based diet is not for everyone. The flexitarian diet includes some meat, poultry, and fish in smaller quantities.
Okay, so you're just adding protein in.
Yes, so you can use smaller amounts of meat, chicken, and fish in this diet. So you can start doing this by, doing a meatless Monday, or really any day of the week will do. Or you can just like replace half of the meat that you're using in the dishes with chopped vegetables or beans. Or some days instead of the steak, you can experiment with cauliflower steak. So and you can top it with lentils, chickpeas, or pasta sauce.
So, this sort of brings me to the idea that that people do come to the idea of diets or eating plans with a lot of myths, such as carbs are bad, plant-based diets don't provide enough protein. Are these things true? I mean, how Americans, I think, also are very used to eating 3 squares, lots of protein, big steaks, lots of volume of food. to sort of wrap your head around, you know, this, what are we really talking about?
I love this question, and I hear this all the time. So it is true that carbs get a bad reputation these days. You have probably heard that carbs bring up your blood sugar or can increase your cravings or even contribute to weight gain. So it is true that by eating refined carbohydrates like white bread, white flour, table sugar, or high fructose corn syrup in excess, we can start this vicious cycle of food addiction, increased blood sugar, or even the feeling of hunger. So, but not all the carbs are the same. So we should really focus on complex carbohydrates or unrefined carbohydrates, which provide us with vitamins, minerals, and fiber. So actually, they can regulate our blood sugars. They can make us feel full, and they can prevent us from overeating.
And what are some examples of those?
So those would be whole grains, fruits, beans, lentils, chickpeas, for example. And this kind of leads to the other question about the protein. So first, we really must ask this question: how much protein do we really need? So we may think we need a lot, but actually that's not true. So about 10 to 15% of our calories, or if you calculate it, 0.21 grams of protein per kilogram of your body weight is generally sufficient for most people, even if you are active. So let's say if you weigh 150 pounds, about 55 to 68 grams of protein is generally enough. So, well, high performing athletes or older people or some people with medical conditions like wounds, they probably need a slightly more protein, but it is completely achievable on a plant-based diet.
Okay.
So, and then I actually wanted to mention that some of these plant foods that are high in protein are beans, lentils, tofu, nuts, seeds, and a lot of us don't know even whole grains and vegetables have protein. So if you have a balanced plan, it will provide you with plenty of protein.
Okay. So I want to go back, one of the audience members, before we go to the sort of the last few questions, asked, how does not getting enough sleep affect your appetite?
So it's we on those days when we don't get enough sleep, we may experience that we likely overeat with our meals. So that's very possible.
Okay, so when you're tired, you're eating to keep yourself
Yes.
going. Is that how that works?
Yes.
Explain.
You become like an emotional eater.
Well, that's something else. I think
Yes.
exhaustion, sort of, you want to keep moving, and so you eat. That's what I do. That's a
Yes.
problem. Okay. All right. So what other tips do you have that can help people stay on a healthy diet?
I think it's very important to say that be ready and then make that commitment. So you can ask yourself, are you motivated enough, or do you have a support system in place at home, or what are the obstacles that you may face and how will you handle them? So how much weight do you want to lose and what are your goals? So in my opinion, it's better to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week in the long term than to have a rapid weight loss, which is not maintainable.
Right.
So another thing is moderation is key. So if you may have heard about the 80-20 approach, when 80% of the time you choose to eat healthy foods, and 20% of the time you allow yourself to enjoy but not really indulge in less healthy food options. Another thing is staying active. So that allows you to burn more calories, and by increasing your muscle mass. And you can also improve your cardiovascular health with that.
So can I just ask you this, with senior citizens, sometimes getting food or preparing food can be a bit of a challenge if they don't have support right there. And many seniors go to the senior centers and they do have nutrition programs. But is there anything that seniors can do to ensure that they're getting enough calories? Sometimes that's the problem, that they're not getting enough calories. Are there supplements? Are there things that they could be doing that will ensure that they're getting enough?
Yes, I mean, there's certainly a role of nutritional supplements. They can be used like Ensure or Boost. But it's a good idea for them to be out there and participate in these programs out there. And also, it's possible to order food or use supermarket delivery services as well to help.
Okay. So we had popped up on the screen the information for a nutritionist for the phone number. Can we get that back up for one quick second? Okay, so for anyone in our audience who does want to meet with one of our outpatient nutritionists, you can call 914-964-4954. That's 964-4954. Okay, so Sylvia, you may have something that you want to share with our audience.
Yes, I would like to actually share one of my favorite recipes here. And this is, my son absolutely loves this recipe, and it's really not expensive to make it, and it's really delicious and healthy. So, and then I also included another handout, 10 tips for healthy eating. And if anybody interested in these, they can just take a picture with their phones, or if they can leave the email addresses in the question and answer section.
Or they can send an email to info@riversidehealth.org and we'll make sure we can get that to you.
Yes, absolutely.
I like the 10 tips for a healthy lifestyle.
Yes, it's a simple handout and you can even put it on your fridge.
That's great. Okay, is there anything else that we didn't cover that that we want to address here? I think
that was all.
I think we're pretty good. Yeah, I think we're pretty good. Okay, so I appreciate your time and your expertise, Sylvia. Thank you so very much for sharing it with our audience today.
It was my pleasure to be here.
Thank you. All right, and so a couple more announcements for anyone in our community who perhaps cannot get to a doctor but would like to see someone virtually. You can access our virtual urgent care. That number is 914-964-4429. I think I also spoke about our info@riversidehealth.org. You can get the recipe or those diet tips by emailing that email, but you can also ask other questions and we will get the answers for you. And if anyone does need a physician, you can certainly email findadoc@riversidehealth.org or call us at 914-964-4DOC, 4DOC. And let's see, I think we might be done. And thank you all for joining us. Thank you again to our community partners. And have a great day, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you, Denise.
Thank you, Sylvia.